morning, everyone. Um, I have a very simple task before me today. But first of all, I noticed that none of you have been smiling all along. Sorry, my voice is a little low. None of you have been smiling all along. So turn to your neighbor and just ask, do you have any talent as in to smile? Can you smile? Is the person smiling? Okay, I think you guys have a talent to smile. So today I will be talking on enhance your talent, know your personality type. But first of all, I would like to appreciate the following people: the convener of this program, Mr. Adedeji, and all faculty members. I also want to appreciate Dr. Julius Adeoye, who gave the first talk, which was very inspiring. The chaplain of the university, thank you, sir, for being here. The director of student services, and our guests, both students and staff. First, I would like you to turn to your neighbor and say, "Hey, friend, know yourself." Hey, friend, know yourself. You know, one of the problems that we have as individuals is not being able to know ourselves. We always want other people to know us, but sometimes we never settle down to actually know ourselves. And so today, this is going to be educating you on who you are. And so throughout the course of this talk, I would like you to pick a partner. So you're going to be asking your partner certain questions, and at the end of the day, I'm going to call out a group to come and discuss what they've gotten so far from everything that has been said. So first of all, I would like to let you know that the knowledge of self is important for talent enhancement. If you do not know yourself, there's really no way that you can develop your talent. And research has shown that those who know themselves, who know their personality, the totality of who they are, they're usually happier and they have less inner conflict. You know, they've come to accept who they really are. There's a difference between someone coming to tell you today that you're a shy person. Tomorrow another person says, you're not shy, you're very outspoken. And so you're asking your friends, is it true I'm shy? Is it true I'm outspoken? But if you already know who you are, it's easier for, oh, maybe I'm shy, I have to work on this. But then if you do not know who you are, you are going to have a lot of inner conflict. You're not going to appreciate who exactly it is that you are. And so it will help you make better decisions. If you know your strengths, if you know your weaknesses, you're able to make better decisions. You're able to develop self-control based on your knowledge of yourself. And it also helps you to resist peer pressure. You find a lot of people going into substance abuse and all sorts of vices these days because they do not really know who they are. So they're trying to discover themselves by what their friends say or what their friends think is okay. But then when you know, oh, I have this strength which is productive, I'll rather use my time to develop this strength than do other things that my friends think are okay. And it also helps us to tolerate and understand other people. I know that sometimes in the course of our interactions with our friends, we probably will be having issues with them because this person is not like me. But if you already understand that this is how this person is, you find it easier to relate with them. Even if the person is not very much like you, it will be easier to relate with the person. And it also gives you vitality and pleasure. The truth is, if you know, if you have a goal, if you have something before you, if you have something that you feel, oh, it's valuable, it gives you strength from within. And so, I just want to give a brief overview of personality because I'll be discussing personality types. And one of the major ways for you to know yourself, as I earlier said, is to understand your personality. Personality refers to the unique, enduring characteristics of an individual. It's not just today you are A, tomorrow you are B. Personality endures throughout your lifetime. So you find out that everybody, you know, some people believe that personality is, oh, this person has personality, this other person doesn't have personality. Every single human has a personality. Are we following? What did I just say? I said every single human has a personality, though our personalities are different. And talent is personality in the right place. Let me explain that to you. If you are someone who has the ability, natural ability to speak. But then you go to where you are meant to be a writer, and you do not have the ability to write. You will not show forth. You will not be able to exercise that your natural ability, and then you will be seen as a liability. But then if you have that because of your personality, you have a natural ability to do something, and you go in that line and you're rightly placed, you find out that you become an asset. And so the personality types I'll be discussing are according to a psychologist called Carl Jung. And to him, he believes that personality differences emerge from our mental activities. By mental activities, I mean our minds, the kind of thoughts that we think. The truth is, we are all unique. Every human being is a unique individual. But then again, we can classify all human beings into certain groups. Because if you want to find out about the whole world, you cannot start sampling every single individual to know each uniqueness. But then our uniqueness can be grouped. So according to him, we can group our uniqueness into, the first is perception. Can everybody say perception? So perception is the way we view things, the way we become aware of our environment, of people around us. Do you agree with me that when you have a glass cup that is halfway full, some people will see it as half empty, some people will see it as half full, some people will see it as refillable. It depends on how you view it, and that takes us to judgment. Based on what you are seeing, you will decide to you will now make conclusions based on what you're seeing. For instance, if you're going in the night and you see a figure that looks like a snake, you're not exactly sure what it is, but you think it is a snake, what would you do? If you see a snake at night, what would you do? But then if you see a goat, what would you do? Would you still run? So that's what perception does to us. Even when we are not exactly sure what we are seeing, we perceive, or it gives us a definition of what we see. So two people can be seeing the same thing but define it differently. And so there are two ways of perceiving. So in this room, this theory is telling us that in this room there are two groups of people, if we're talking about perception. Some are the sensors. What did I say? Some are the sensors. People sense. Say sense. Okay. So, for the people who use their sense to perceive, we all know about the sense organs, right? Please, what are our sense organs? Can somebody one person? Okay, come.
My name is Ogunmola Matu from Bamtesa Square there. The part of our sense organ is eyes, nose, tongue, ear, and skin.
Okay. So for those who perceive with their sense organs, they appreciate information that come from the outside. They're more focused on things they can see, things they can feel, things they can touch, things that they receive from outside. And they're the opposite set of people who use their intuition. What did I say? Intuition. So for them, they are more concerned about the unconscious realm, the things that happen in their own mind. They are concerned about ideas, about thoughts, things that you can't really see. And that's why you find a lot of creative people. They might not be things that you can physically see. So they do not necessarily focus on reality. They are more engrossed in things that have to do with ideas. And so in this room right now, we have people who are who mostly sense, while there are some others who mostly use their intuition. So I told you to pick a partner. So discuss with your partner now so you know which you are. Are you a sensor or are you an intuitive person? decide now, based on who you know yourself to be, and write it down, because I'm going to call. Based on these two, I said we have two. Okay, it's not here. Please, next slide. Abi? Okay, oh, sorry, it's the same slide. Based on these two things, sensing and intuition, some people appreciate what they see from outside through their sense organs. That is what you are always engrossed about, things you can see. Maybe you're passing by, you see a flower, you're going to school, the buses, by everything you see. That's what you're always focused on. Meanwhile, there are some other people who are always focused on what is inside, their own ideas, their thoughts. They're always into themselves. So by now you should know who you are. So have we all told our partners? Have you told your partners who you are? Okay, let's move on. So here and now, based on what I earlier explained, for the sensual people amongst us, they are focusing on their attention on everything that is being discussed right now. They're just focused on, okay, I'm here, I'm seeing this person in front of me, this person is sitting beside me. It's just all they can see and all they can feel that they are focused on. But for the intuitive people around us, they're reading between the lines and they're connecting it to other things, to other life experiences they've had and other possibilities. And so we go to the next. The first we discussed was perception, ways of perceiving. And now the second is ways of judging. Are we following? Are we following? Okay. So the next is ways of judging. And based on this, right here, we have two groups of people as well. We have those who judge by thinking and those who judge by feeling. For those who judge by thinking, they're very logical, they're very objective in the sense that they don't necessarily put personal bias to things. Is this thing right or wrong? But for the people who judge based on feeling, they're usually more subjective. They personalize things and they define things based on their own personal experience. And so right here and now, for the judges amongst us, for the thinkers, they would likely judge this presentation as whether it's logical or it's consistent to what they believe. And for the feelers, they will see, does it please me? Does it displease me? Does it support my ideas? Does it not support my ideas? They personalize it. And so, based on the two we've earlier discussed, we now have a combination of two different groups, which are four combinations. The first is sensing plus thinking. Can everybody say that? The next is sensing plus feeling. Next, intuition plus feeling. Intuition plus thinking. Okay, so I'm going to explain them one after the other. But I want you to take note that your understanding of these things is going to help you in life to avoid a lot of conflicts. Conflict with yourself, conflict with others, and conflict even in the choice of your career path. I know most of us want to go to the university, but if we have an understanding of this, it will really help us know the kind of courses that we should go for and what career path to choose. And so the first group of people are the ones who use sensing plus thinking. They focus on using their senses. That's, we talked about the sense organs and things they see around. But then they are focused on doing it step by step because they are thinkers. Thinkers are logical. Thinkers are objective. And so they reason step by step, despite the fact that they are looking at things through their senses. And so the careers that are best for them are economics, law, surgery, business, accounting, production, and handling of machines and materials. So if you find yourself in this category, someone who likes to engage with engage his senses, but then you like step-by-step procedure, you might find yourself in one of these fields. And next we have sensing plus feeling. They rely on their perception, but then they have this personal connection to whatever it is that they've seen from their outside. And so they're usually very sociable, they're usually very friendly, and they're interested more in people than in things. And for people who have this kind of personality, you find out that they can function better, and most likely they get more satisfaction from courses like pediatrics, nursing, teaching, especially with nursery and primary students, social works, and jobs that have to do with service with a smile, front desk people, customer service, and the likes. Are we following, please? Okay. So the next group are the ones who use their intuition for perceiving, and for judgment they use their feeling. And so they also have the same personal warmth that the people, because both of them, what we just saw now was sensing plus feeling. And for sensing plus feeling, there's a connection for intuition plus feeling. Yes, so sorry. Okay, so they both have the same personal warmth and commitment, but they are more interested in new projects. They easily get bored, so they like things that are new. Even when it comes to their regular life, when it comes to food, they just don't like the same kind of food. They just don't like the same kind of places. If they want to do an assignment, they take an extra effort to make it new. They don't like things to be in the same routine, because they see that whenever they try to do something new, it's a source of inspiration for them. So they have to think of the idea first before they even actually go into implementing it. And they usually have a marked gift of language. So they find themselves being able to communicate their idea that, okay, this is what I want to do. They can sell it to other people. And so they function best in careers like advertising, preaching, clinical psychology, teaching, especially for secondary and tertiary institutions, writing, and various fields of research. And the last category are those who use intuition plus thinking. And although they focus on possibility like the other group we just saw, they are very analytical. They are more like the thinkers we had already discussed them. They like step-by-step procedures. So they like the ideas, they like possibilities, but then they like structure, they like theories. And so you find people in mathematics, in computer, in complex aspects of finance, tilting towards this field. They will find more satisfaction in these fields. And so you find people that, because they do not understand their abilities, and their way of thinking that they've adopted from growing ages, you find someone who has this kind of ability, for instance, going to become maybe, for instance, a clinical psychologist, and you find that the person will be struggling. You'll be wondering why you are not coping so well. But for someone who has this kind of ability, and is right here studying mathematics, you find it so easy. People will be struggling, but you just find it easy because that is your innate ability. It's natural, it comes naturally for you. And so what we want to do, what we would like to encourage you is to understand is know these things about yourself, so that you do not go ahead and study courses just because, oh, maybe my friend is studying this, or you feel that there's money there, or you feel some other reasons that may later end up in some regrets. And so we are done with perceiving and judging. But then we also have another category that differentiates everyone across the world. You have the extroverts, and then you have the introverts. And so why this is coming to play is that despite the fact that, okay, you can be someone who uses intuition plus feeling, but then you can still be an introvert or an extrovert. It doesn't affect the fact that your sense of judging and perception is still there. Amongst people that have the same kind of pattern in the ones we had earlier discussed, you find that there will be differences still in the fact that they are either introverts or they are extroverts. And for the extroverts, they enjoy interacting with the outside world. They get their strength from outside. So they need to interact, they need to constantly be around people. But for the introverts, no matter how much they are outside with people and everything, they have to still retreat and go and be on their own, because that's where they draw their strength from, and that's where a lot of their inspirations come from. And so the thing is, as we develop in life, despite the fact that you're an introvert, there's really no perfect introvert or perfect extrovert. And the best thing for us to do is to be able to know how to use these our natural abilities to our best. And so, for instance, next slide, please. So, for instance, someone who, under the first category we discussed, IST stands for introvert, sensual, and thinker. The person is sensual. That means he likes to interact with the environment. He perceives things from the environment, and the person is a thinker. But then the person is also an introvert. You find those kind of people functioning better in courses like law, economics. It really doesn't have to do much with people interaction. It has to do with you going and doing a lot of studies on your own. And for people who are extroverts, but in these same categories, that means they are sensual and they are still thinkers, you find them functioning better in areas like business and industry, because it has to do with people, it has to do with things, it has to do with products. Are we following? Okay. And so the last category, we've discussed judging, we've discussed perception, we've discussed introvert and extrovert, and now judging. So for this, there are two groups of people right here and everywhere else in the world. There are those who process information by judging, and there are those who process information by perceiving. For those who process information by judging, they have their life planned out already. I'm going out today, this is how I'm going to go. Everything is step by step, everything has a flow already predetermined. But for the perceivers, they go with the flow, like, okay, when I go out, whatever happens, if this happens, I'll change, I'll switch to this, I'll switch to that. And so it makes for the differences that we have amongst ourselves. And if we're able to understand these differences, because no particular difference is better than the other, it is how well you use your difference that matters. So if you're someone who is the stick to plan kind of person, meaning that you are always involved in judging, you should use it to your advantage. And so right here and now, based on these two groups, some of us here will have an open mind to this idea, because it's something maybe you've never heard before, but you have an open mind to it, you're willing to learn. Most likely, that is perception. But for people who have decided that, you know what, I don't agree with it, it's not something I really need, it's not coming up in the examinations in school. So that's judgment. Those mostly are people who work with judging. And so a summary of everything that we've discussed so far: you're either an introvert or you're an extrovert. You're either someone who senses or makes use of intuition. You're either someone who likes to judge things by thinking or by feeling. And then you either use judgment or perception to explain or to process information that you've gotten from your environment. And so this, I don't want to really go into this because it might become a lot more technical, but according to Carl Jung, these are the 16 next slide. These are the 16 personality types that we have. But this information is readily available on the internet. So rather than just going on the internet, downloading movies and songs, sometimes we should just go on the internet and learn about personality types, because it helps us to accept ourselves, it helps us to accept others, and it even helps us as young people to know what course we should study and which line we should toe. And so in conclusion, I think I would advise that we generally make our time to read about personality types online. And I would like to add that the Bible says that in all you're getting, get understanding. Understanding your personality type is a form of understanding, but the Bible also tells us to get wisdom, and the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. And so, if we fear God, we would understand things better, in a better light. And then I wanted to add that the truth is, these theories and other things that we learn, they come by inspiration one way or the other. Some of these people were just seated somewhere and God dropped an inspiration for them. And so, beyond everything that we learn, maybe in the classroom or from interactions, we should learn to key into God, because a lot of who we are, we really do not know the fullness of who we are. But with God's inspiration, with God's help, we can really discover who we are and who we are meant to be. And so, I would like us to all rise and pick a partner and read this to your partner. Are we ready? 1, 2, go. Please celebrate yourselves. Thank you very much for your time.